Hello, welcome to Business Statistics, the BA 350 for summer 2025. This will be a 6-week asynchronous course. It's the first class in a sequence of two if you're signed up for Business Statistics 2 as well. And you're probably signed up for the Excel Lab component as well. So typically, you take these together. No, we're not going to actually use this website, the 350A Excel Lab. It'll all be just in this one course website, BA 350 Statistics 1. So don't worry about this. So to get started, let's jump into the syllabus. So here within the first folder, I have both the syllabus and the textbook. We're technically using the 14th edition, but I have this 12th edition available to you as a PDF. This should be sufficient for you as we go through the course if you don't have access to the latest edition of the book. Okay, so let's talk about the syllabus. So my name is Sam. Feel free to address me as Sam. My office hours will be hosted over Zoom. Feel free to email me at any time. I can answer questions over email. I'm happy to hop on a Zoom call with you if you're having any issues. But let's talk about this. So this is a first in a two-course sequence dealing with business statistics. So we're talking about some descriptive statistics, how we visualize data. We'll talk a little bit about probability, and then ultimately statistical inference, which will probably be the most important part of the entire course. So we want to know how to work with data, describe it, summarize it, and then make inferences about populations given the samples that we draw from it. So this will be useful to a whole range of business majors. So this is a very important class. So we've got some objectives here. It's very similar to what I already said. We want to have a vocab for statistics, know how to summarize data, visualize it, get some basics of probability under our belt, and then talk about statistical inference. So that'll come in the form of confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. And then, of course, the Excel component to this. So we will learn how to use Microsoft Excel, how to manipulate data a little bit with it, and also how to do some statistical procedures through Microsoft Excel. So the best thing you can do right now would be to download and have Microsoft Excel available to you so that you're ready to jump into the problem sets, because the problem sets are going to be your Microsoft Excel component for that one credit course, BA 350A. Okay, so as we said, this is online, so it's all through Schoology. This is asynchronous. I'll be posting content week by week. I'll typically have at least 1 week ahead available so that you can work ahead. Office hours will be by appointment by Zoom. Feel free to just email me. I'll be really flexible, so just if you're working a job, that's fine. Just let me know what works for you and I'll make it work. Required materials. So yeah, this is the official textbook, 14th edition, but whatever problems we use from the textbook, like if the 12th edition isn't good enough, I'll be posting screenshots from the 14th edition. So don't worry about getting the main textbook. If you don't want to pay for it, just use that PDF I have posted on the course website. And of course, you need access to Microsoft Excel. As I said, make sure that you have access to that going into this first week of the class, because you're going to need it right away. Okay, so grading policy, we're going to have a few different components. First is the discussion questions. This is really almost like a participation grade. So I'm going to ask a question. My goal is that you're going to do a little bit of research, read the textbook, and write a thoughtful response. You'll either get a response of 0, 1, or 2. If I can tell you put in effort, you'll get a 2. If it's late or you didn't put in much effort, you'll get a 1. And then, of course, if you don't do it, you'll get a 0 out of 2. So easy 20% to get. Next is the self-assessment questions. So these will be 10 short self-assignment questions, which will be like true, false, multiple choice. And you'll be able to do this multiple times until you get the correct answers. So if you don't get it perfect right away, do it again. Make sure that you get the highest grade that you possibly can. You do get multiple attempts at the self-assessment questions. So that's 40% of the grade. This 40% should be a good way to get a full 40% from those points. Like I said, discussion, I'm just looking for effort, and self-assignment or self-assessment, you get multiple attempts. So make sure you're doing those to the best of your ability. And then finally, the problem sets. So these will be more involved. There's going to be one for each chapter. We're covering 9 chapters, so it's a good bit of work. And these are going to have Microsoft Excel components. Therefore, your grade for that 1 credit BA 350A course will simply be the grade on your problem sets for this class. So the problem sets kind of count double. So the problem sets will count as 30% of your grade for the statistics course, and they'll count as 100% of your grade for the Excel lab component course. And then finally, we will have a final exam. It'll just be a single cumulative exam. It'll be available on June 26th and 27th. So once it's open, feel free to take it at any time during those 2 days. But once you start it, there will be a timer. I think you get like 2 hours. I don't remember exactly, but I'll be sending an email with those details later on. Okay, we've got the grade components. It's just St. Vincent Standard for grading. Late assignments, there's a lot. This class is going to move quickly. Before I did this in a 3-week course, and it was a little too much. So this is only 6 weeks. So we do have more time, but it's still half of a normal semester, so we're moving quickly. So it's important that you stay on top of everything. But if something's late once, I'll forgive it. But if you need more time, I do ask that you email me. If you just let me know before the due date, I'll almost always grant, an extension without penalty, but just make sure that you're letting me know ahead of time. Academic integrity. I guess like one thing to discuss would be like ChatGPT. I'm not anti ChatGPT. It is a tool to be embraced. I don't want you to just copy paste the discussion questions into ChatGPT. I do ask that you actually write something yourself. But another place where ChatGPT can be helpful, and it's not wrong, is with the problem sets. So when you're working with Excel, if you're struggling and you have a question, you don't necessarily have to Google it or email me. You can ask ChatGPT, and it might help you guide you on the right path. Now, I don't think it's going to be able to do your problem sets for you, but like I said, talk to it, ask it questions, allow it to guide you in your work, because it's not going to be able to do your work for you. So again, think of it as a tool to help you rather than to do it for you. The only other thing, so other things that are just always in our syllabus, but let's just talk about the course outline. So as we said, this is a 6-week class. This first week is pretty light. It's only the introductory chapter, and we're only going to cover 1 chapter. So, I wanted to ease us into it, but I'm gonna, if you look now, the first 2 weeks are both published on Schoology. So I would recommend, in fact, I highly recommend you get a jump start on week 2, because if you look at some of these weeks, so weeks 2, 4, and 5 are 2 chapters per week. It's a lot of material. There's going to be stuff due almost every day. So as much as you can stay ahead on the work, the better off you'll be, because these weeks, the assignments are going to come very quickly. So I'll try to always have the next week available to you so that you can stay ahead. And then at the final week, we'll be talking about hypothesis testing, and then there will be that final exam. All right, so let's go back to the course website. So that was the syllabus and textbook. Like I said, I have the first 2 weeks available to you. So let's jump into week 1. So every week there will be an outline. Allow this to guide your work through the week. So I've got the dates. I'll have the chapters that we're discussing. So this is the first week starting on May 19th. We're only going to have chapter 1. I have a link to the YouTube videos. So you'll be watching this video right now, the introductory video, and then talking about chapter 1, and then the first video. So this is within week 1, video 1 of Excel Lab. You'll want to go through those 3 videos for this first week. And then I'll have all the due dates listed on this form as well. So Wednesday, I want you to have that discussion question done. By the next day, the self-assessment question, and then by Sunday night, that problem set. So pretty light week, but there's still 3 things due in this first week. But allow these outlines to guide you through every week. So let's go back to week 1. So the first is just the chapter 1 material. So you have access to the PowerPoint that I'll be discussing in the lecture. You'll have your discussion questions. You'll click on it, and you have a short response essay question. So you'll read the response, type up your answer and submit it. And then you'll have your SAQ. So you'll go through, it's basically a quiz, true, false, multiple choice. You'll get multiple attempts at that. So that's Wednesday and Thursday to get those done. Excel lab. So in that Excel video, I'll be working through this this Excel file, mtcars. So what you can do is you can download this video, and then you can just do everything I'm doing in the video to follow along until we eventually fill it out. So mtcars filled out. That way you can just do everything I'm doing and kind of get a step-by-step introduction to Microsoft Excel. And then finally the problem set. So you'll submit it here. Here's the actual problem set itself, and this is the data that you'll need to answer all of the problems. So you'll download the Excel file and the problem set. You'll answer these questions, and then your final submission for the homework or the problem set will be both your typed answers, within this Word document, and then also your Excel file that has all of your work in the .xlsx file. So two files, your Excel file and your Word document. Those will both get submitted to this assignment here. Okay, so that's like the week by week outline of how this is looking. So let's just glance ahead at week 2 as well. So here we'll be going through 2 chapters, and so therefore there will be 2 of everything. So that means 2 discussion questions, 2 SAQ quizzes, and the same. This is actually the same Excel lab, and then 2 problem sets. So chapter 2 and chapter 3 problem sets with that one data set that you'll need. And then let's just look at what the outline has to offer. So note that we're talking about chapters 2 and 3. So note these due dates: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's, 6 days in a row where something is due. So this is going to come very quickly. So that's why I have this posted right now, so that you can get a head start. It's going to be a lot of work, but that's just the nature of summer courses. We do a lot of material in a short period of time. But this is doable. It's just going to require consistent effort. So I think that's about everything I have. So you should have access to all of this right now. Syllabus textbook, week 1, week 2. So let me know if you have any issues. Make sure you have access to Microsoft Excel, and then have at it. Email me if there are problems. So I look forward to working with you this semester. So good luck.